Another day, another unusual story surrounding DICE and the ongoing diversity debates regarding women in video games. It's as if they can't help themselves by adding to this already raging fire that is having no positive impact on promoting Battlefield 5 and the entire franchise at all, and is in fact causing the game to suffer from supposed poor pre-order statistics. I've actually got a video on that will be coming out very soon. The article in question is from IGN, however has been posted all around the major gaming news websites and was in fact conducted by Games Radar. A link to some of those can be found in the description down below. The interview has sparked all sorts of controversial debate all over Twitter, all over these gaming websites, Reddit and such, and was conducted, as I said, by Games Radar with Alexander Grundle, executive producer at DICE, and he has gone on record stating that he wishes the team had added female characters to Battlefield 1 instead of waiting until Battlefield 5 to do so. Now many of you watching will immediately recognise that this statement makes zero sense, as Battlefield 1 did have female characters in it and in fact focused on them quite extensively in both the single player and the multiplayer. Many who played BF1 will remember the war story focusing on the female hero, of course the trailer showcasing the horse right at the start, starting the whole thing off with a woman, and then the DLC, the Russian DLC, focusing on female snipers as well. Now this was quite a big step, seeming as though we didn't have women in previous Battlefield games. You of course had them in the campaigns, but it wasn't really the same sort of thing that we saw in BF1. Considering the First World War was dominated by men when it came to the combat, seeing women being introduced was a slight shock to the system to many, including myself to be honest with the Russian DLC. However, DICE did approach it in quite a tasteful way, showcasing historic figures and acts of bravery whilst performing a relatively accurate walk along the historical tightrope, something that definitely wasn't seen in Call of Duty World War II or so far in Battlefield 5. And that's something I go back to a lot of the time during this video and in other videos. It's all about doing it tastefully and keeping the community on board, not telling them what they can and can't like. Speaking with Games Radar, Grundle asserted that the players being able to express themselves through characters in gameplay is essential, which I would agree with, which includes being able to play as women. Again, fine as we saw it in Battlefield 1. This part of the argument makes sense, and at the end of the day it is a video game and has no requirement to be historically accurate. If some players want to play as women, fine. If others want to play as men, whatever, go for it. As long as it's fun, I don't really care. The issue starts to arise when DICE claim the game to be historically accurate, when in fact it isn't. Or when instead of diffusing the situation and explaining why they have taken the creative directions they have, they just say, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Either way, this interview focused on Battlefield 1 and the fact DICE wanted to include women in the game, something we already know has happened. Grundle continued, stating that if we, that is DICE, were getting on the bandwagon, I created Battlefield 1, and we could have jumped on the bandwagon that time around. I think it's a shame we didn't add women because that perhaps would have been better for us. I don't think it's a bandwagon thing, I think it's about gamers wanting to express themselves in different ways. This expression can be seen clearly in the recent Company trailer released by DICE that unfortunately uses some of the same footage from the original trailer that received so much hate from the community. Maybe focusing on new sections of the game would have been a smart move as the controversy rolled over, however that just wasn't the case. Teamed up with this recent statement, it's creating even more controversy to put into the mix. He went on to say, if you look at Battlefield historically, it's been about expressing yourself through gameplay, solving problems the way you want to, and these characters fall perfectly in line with that thinking. Of course, any time that someone is upset about some choices that you make in the game, it's not great, it's not what you want to do. You want to create a game that's the best game for all players. So at least he's acknowledged there's some controversy surrounding this, and people really aren't happy with the direction that the game is going in some aspects. He went on to say, we have decided to make a game that involved personalizing a character, creating your own company of soldiers, and we thought it was right that you could be able to be whomever you wanted to be in that context. We stand by that. I think it's still the right thing to do, and I still think it's the right thing for us as a franchise. It takes a good bit of balancing. Now I'd agree with that. I think it's great that there is lots of customization coming to the game. Everyone can agree that Battlefield needed more character customization. It's just the way it's been forced down our throats right from the get-go. And then there's almost been no exception for people having any sort of opinion on it. You either like what DICE do or you don't buy the game, and that's certainly not something I like to see from a big company that's had the support of the community and almost relies on a really tight-knit community that has started to fall apart over the past year or so, I would say. The most bizarre thing is that Battlefield 1 did have women in it, and was accepted by pretty much everyone due to the tasteful nature and relative historical accuracy. Battlefield 5 is clearly not historically accurate for the most part, which is fine, just so the studio doesn't claim that it is. Be honest, be transparent, and most importantly, don't try and guilt trip your audience into thinking we aren't ready to see women in video games. At the end of the day, it is the community that will be buying your game, and only so much can be taken before sales will really start to take a hit, and the franchise once again becomes a real minnow compared to Call of Duty. Again, I've got a video coming out soon taking a look at that. I fear all of the positive work that was taken with BF1 is being undone with a few sloppy statements and Twitter replies, but hopefully it will all come good within the next few months. Fingers crossed, the game's actually quite a lot of fun to play, so maybe we will have a good Battlefield. Leave your opinions down in the comments. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.